I remember playing Flight Sim 95 as a kid. I never had any weird incidents, except for this one time. I was flying somewhere in Egypt and was fairly close to ground level when I noticed a black dot slowly traveling on the ground. Curious, I turned around and lowered my altitude to get a better look. I noticed it was in the shape of a human, though very basic and low polygon. I wanted to get a more detailed look though, so I flew on and turned around, this time almost touching the ground. I must have flown within 20 feet of it, and I noticed that it was a rough black texture, and on the face, there was a large red circle. It was pretty freaky, so I decided to do one more trip around and crash into it, as maybe that would kill it. I flew on and turned around, this time ready to kamikaze the thing. As I approached, it stopped moving, and I was able to hit it. As soon as I did, the game crashed and I had to reload. I was never able to find it again, and I've forgotten the exact location. I'm still not quite sure what I saw. Its arms and legs didn't move. It just kind of floated slowly across the ground. There was this old point-and-click adventure game for the Apple that gave me nightmares. Granted, I was like 6 when I first played it, which was around 1993. Anyway, there were just a lot of options to get yourself killed in the game. 2 scenarios that stick out to me were you climbing a tree and falling and breaking your legs or something. That one wasn't so bad, and yes, the other one is sillier, but it still scared me. You went into some house and felt a tap on your shoulder as you were walking along. You could choose to turn around, or keep going. If you turned around, some dude and a jester were there looking all menacing, standing in front of a wall of some jelly-like substance. They would shove you into the jelly stuff and you'd be stuck there until you died, and then you'd see the 2 dudes just smiling at you with all this text on the screen. What made it worse for me was that the game crashed right after this scene, and the dude whose house I was staying at burst into the room, yelling, "I told you kids not to play on that computer." It was some old black and white game. I haven't been able to find any info on it. And what makes it worse is that this is around the time Apple released some game maker program, and a lot of people made games with it at the time, so for all I know, this was just a game that dude was working on. I was playing Red Dead Redemption and heard about that Easter egg or cheat or whatever you want to call it, where if you kill everybody in a town, it'll become a ghost town and no one will inhabit it. While trying to complete some side quest, I traveled to Armadillo where some civilians started a fight with me. As per usual in any GTA-type game, rather than let it slide and carry on my quest, I decided to gun this NPC down, which resulted in total chaos. The law got involved, a ton of people got shot in the carnage, and eventually I got shot and died. So I had to start again from whatever part of the map I had started from and travel all the way back to Armadillo to complete whatever it was I was doing. As I arrived, I had noticed that the town was unusually quiet, and there wasn't anyone on the streets. I knew that in the previous gunfight a few people had gotten shot, but surely not the whole town. I went into the tailor's. No one there. I went into the gunsmith, the sheriff's office. No one. I was starting to get the horrible feeling that I had triggered this ghost town sheet, and that my mission couldn't be completed. On one last chance, I ran into the saloon hoping someone would be there, or maybe I could save the game and, hopefully upon reloading, the townsfolk would return. As I ran toward the saloon, I crashed through the double doors and ran into the corner where I stopped, facing the wall at the bottom of the stairs. I contemplated reloading the game when I turned around to see the whole town, literally every NPC in Armadillo, standing in the bar, just looking at me. The pianist manifested like a ghost and started to play the piano, and the townsfolk just seemed to snap out of their trance and went about their business as usual. Sometime earlier this year, a couple of friends and I were playing DayZ Standalone. We found a good clearing in some forest near a village that we wanted to start building a base at. Before we headed out to gather all the material to start building, we took a moment's break and one buddy went AFK in a bush. After a little while of us waiting around, I saw his character jog past me further into the forest. My other friend and I figured he'd just forgot to turn his mic back on. I messaged my friend and he told me he was still in the bathroom and wasn't back at his PC yet. He came back shortly after and exclaimed, "Oh, what, I died? How?" My other friend and I immediately went on the hunt for our so-called friend. Just a couple 100 meters away, we stumbled across him. He was dressed in our dead friend's clothes, his rifle slung up on his back. With no hesitation, we both opened fire. The guy responded by beelining toward me, fists at the ready. 10 shots of my SKS and an entire mag of my friend's pistol later, he dropped dead. The guy even had the orange armband we were all wearing, the same character model, and his name was just Player. I've gotten into hundreds of fights in DayZ over the years, but this one moment freaked me out more than anything else. And I've even fought a bloodsucker on Arma 2 DayZ Namalsk, but I don't know anyone else who can claim they fought a skinwalker. I was playing some game as a kid, Pay's Big Adventure, Pay's Grand Adventure. I can't find it on Google, I'm probably remembering the name wrong, but I know for sure that the main character's name is Pay. The game asks you to put your name in when starting a new game. You're not naming the character, it actually acknowledges that it's being played and wants you to put in your own name. It's a pretty neat concept for the time. The game praises you when you do well, and berates you when you do poorly. I kept failing this one jumping puzzle. "Anon, you can do better than this," the game said. It was oddly motivating, but I continued to fail a few more times. "Anon, get it together." I continued to fail some more. "Anon, you worthless trash." It booted me to the start of the level. I was pretty angry about losing my checkpoint, and I thought about quitting and taking a break. As I stared at the screen in contemplation, it said, "Fine, quit then, Anon." And the game went back to the main menu. There, Pei had a look of chilling anger looking at the screen. In hindsight, it was just clever development for a really weird game, but as a kid, I was convinced it was cursed or haunted or something.